as long as you know you're pointing in the right direction. So you're either using the nav ball in 0.8 or you're using mech-jam and the correct pointing vectors to make that occur. But as long as you do this in little stages like this, there's no reason this needs to be 3 meters per second. You could bump this up. I'd be comfortable doing 30, maybe even 40 meters per second at this distance. The trick is, once you've made your burn, spin your spacecraft around. Doesn't hurt to have lots of SAS power, by the way, to make that occur. Or if you need to, you can turn on your RCS pods. But the point is, you maneuver around so you're ready to burn when you need to burn. Alright, so we're going to speed up a little more again. And our CPA is going to be really close here. You can see I'm right down there. There's an identical spaceship. Now, one thing I could do if I wanted to is I could turn the game, I could switch the game over to that spaceship and then have him point at me, because he's got an RCS on him as well. I could point at him and make this process easier. But let's pretend he's a big fat-ass space station, and that's hard to do. So in that situation, I'm going to want to get onto his docking port. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to fly over, I'm going to overshoot him a little bit in this direction because I want to be in front of his nose, and then I'm going to have my nose approach his nose. So given the fact that we just did that, I want to figure out which way is up here. Okay, so I'm now pointed directly at him, and I'm going to point directly at him plus up a little. I'm going to make one last little burn. This one's going to be a little burn because I don't have far to go. I've only got 260 meters to go. So and I could do this with RCS thrusters as well. These small delta V's are easily within the realm of RCS. But you know, I got my main engines, and there's no reason not to use them, at least at this point. I'm going to use my RCS for the final approach. So speed up time one more time, and there we go. I'm going to cancel my velocity when it looks like I'm in the right spot, which is pretty close to there. And there we go. Okay, so now we're good. Now we just need to do our terminal dot. Alright, so at this point, I'm going to do it all manually. So I'm going to hit kill rotation. That's basically equivalent to the mode that they're going to have in 0.18, where you're in docking mode, and the SAS basically tries to hold you in the direction that you asked it to hold you. And so that should be a reasonable proxy of that. And then I'm going to turn on my RCS thrusters. Alright, and I'm testing my directions right now, so that direction is up. Okay, so we want to thrust up a little bit and in. And I'm going to turn on this docking port. Now, this port is a little bit more like cheating than the one that will be in 1.8. The one in 1.8 you actually have to hard dock. You don't get to get close and then it docks you. This one, you got to get just close and it'll dock you. But it's a reasonable facsimile, and I'll show you what I mean by that. And it's certainly good for practicing. I think you'll see that if you do what I'm doing here, you'll be able to demonstrate that you're good enough to pull it off if you can do what I'm doing here. So biggest thing here is you're going to want to move your camera around to make sure you've got the right everything, the right heights, and so on, the right attitude. So I'm good vertically and I'm good horizontally. So now it's just a question of maintaining that. So I'm going to approach it slowly at about a half a meter per second. You can see I have 20 meters to go, this docking port's ready to link up with that docking port. That's what this mod's green line tells you. This will not be in 0.18. You're gonna have to do all this by eyeballing it like this, and you're gonna have to physically touch the two. But you can see I'm well on track to physically touching the two. Almost. I got to burn back now. I want to slow down. Burn to the side. It looks like I want to rotate just a touch this direction. Yep. Burn up a little. Burn up a little. Slow movements, just like landing. Once you're close, slow movements. Alright, that's not bad. And now this is where this Urkel mod's easier, because it's going to pull me in for the rest of the distance. But you can see you're basically there. So that's how you do it. And now we have achieved a dock. And in 0.18, you basically have to make these two things kiss, but you would be at the same point. And so now you can see I can spin my spacecraft. And if I burn, both of them go. And there you go, you got a dock. So that's how it's done. If we go back out here, you'll see both spacecraft are in exactly the same orbit, which makes sense, because that's the only way you have zero relative velocity like this. And hopefully I showed you how to do the correct orbital maneuvers and the burns at the right time to make this occur. You can do some of these things together that I did as separate entities. You can make burns that change your periapsis and your inclination, but it's trickier, and if you and you're only going to save a small amount of fuel. So you need to question whether you want to do that. And I'm going to recommend that while you're learning to do this, you certainly don't try that. If you're learning to dock, make each correction individually the way I just showed you, and you can see it's pretty easy if you're careful while you do it. Alright, so that's this tutorial. Hope this helped you dock and fly safe.